First of all, welcome you guys to the Realtor Success Series for April. We've been doing this now for probably the 8th or ninth we've done. And I really want to thank Arjun. Arjun came to our buy-sell meeting a few weeks ago and spoke for about 10, 15 minutes on what he's going to talk about today a little more. And I had such great feedback from everyone in the room, all the realtors. We had maybe 60 in that room that day. Some newbies, some new realtors that came in, and they just loved it. So I kind of put Arjun on the spot, say, hey, would you mind doing this? And he said he was going to be in Austin. He's going to be out of town. He's going to be traveling, but he's holed up in a room somewhere at the hotel in Austin and going to do this for us. So there's a lot of good stuff that we're going to get from this. And if you guys don't know Arjun, if you've never met Arjun or if you haven't talked to him before, I've known him now maybe 6 years, 6 years, something like that. And I want to say he's probably one of the most genuine guys that I've ever met. Has the biggest heart. He'll do anything for you at the drop of a hat. He's always there to help. He and I are in the same industry. We're both in the mortgage industry. We used to work for the same company a couple years back, but now we're separate companies. But, we still hang out. He lives in Sausalito. I live in Novato. So it's like 20 minutes apart. We get together once a month for pancakes and hang out and talk politics and just talk shit, which is always great. And he's just a really good guy. So you guys are really lucky that we have him here today. And one of the probably the most unique things about Arjun, besides his speaking ability, his commitment to the industry and just helping others. And again, you may not know this, but he's a 2-time world champion in Taekwondo, which is obviously amazing. He's done that. He's also coached the Team USA. So he's just a really good all-around dude. So Arjun, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up to this and doing our Realtor Success Series for April. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, brother. Anything for you, man. And that's a very kind intro. We're going to have some interaction here. I want this to be really helpful. Everything that we're talking about today is stuff that I bought into about 7 or 8 years ago. And then I've just been really trying to be the strongest advocate for all of our industries, real estate, lending, wealth management. It doesn't matter because we're all providing a very important service to the marketplace and to consumers. And if there's one thing I have figured out, and even though I'm still a student of it, is that everything just comes down to visibility. The more visible you are, the more chances you will get, and you will even do better in business than someone who might be even more competent than you or someone who's even better at this trade than you. Visibility is the number one currency. The internet is basically a gigantic shopping mall, and visibility is the only currency that we can really control. And so I want to implore everyone today, whatever that is that helps you amplify visibility. For me, it's social media, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today. But everything I'm explaining in terms of concepts and how to execute and what some of the manifests are, you can do through anything. If you are really big into email marketing, everything applies. If you are big into billboards and bus stop signs, remember when those worked? I mean, for some markets, they still work. Then you can use what I'm talking about through there. If it's door knocking or just getting in your 20,000 steps a day because you are just the most active agent or service provider in your zip code and you love pounding the pavement, then this can work too. So everything I'm talking about basically can translate and transcend across all different types of mediums. But what I'll be focused on, and a lot of the examples I'll give will be on social. Most everyone on here has some kind of a relationship with social media. Maybe it's love-hate, maybe it's love-love, maybe it's hate-hate. The reason why I am so passionate and sold on it and just have bought in on it is because nothing else has been able to give me the kind of reach and exposure that social media does in terms of taking my marketing and social media being the vehicle for it and amplifying it. I can't get in front of that many eyeballs or that many human beings two-dimensionally through anything else. Until someone else can show me a way that can make it that I could scale even more, then I'm always all ears. But until that time, this is why I'm bought in on it. And I want everyone to be bought in on it because number one, most people think it's too late or it's kind of saturated. My brother has a great quote, and I want you all just to remember it. Nothing is saturated because most people suck at what they do. Nothing is saturated because most people suck at what they do. That's the truth. Okay. Not talking about anyone on this call, of course, because everyone here is all about getting better, but you know what I'm talking about if you think about it, right? Like I'll take real estate and mortgage, for example. 90% of the content that's put out there has absolutely no value to a consumer or end user. It's only about the person that's posting it, how great they are or how wonderful their brokerage is or the cool things that they're doing. They're never giving out anything that's of value, which is why if you are just a little bit valuable to your space, you are putting out the right kinds of updates, you're feeding the right kind of optimism and light into the marketplace, just a little bit, you'll separate from 90% of everyone else. And that is why nothing is saturated. It's also not too late in terms of the opportunity because everything that I'm going to share with you guys today, right now, the opportunity to execute with it is bigger than it was when I got started with this stuff 7 or 8 years ago. So is everyone on board with this? We're good? I'm really big into thumbs ups. Okay, you guys can throw them up. All right, good. I want to have happen, Darren and Sophia, if you guys can monitor the chat for all questions that come up, and then Darren, just interrupt me at times when you feel it's the right time to maybe interject that question as I'm going. So don't feel like we want to wait until the end because I want to make sure I get to as much as as I can to help everyone out today. So take some notes, guys. If a question comes up, jot it down or throw it in the chat immediately. That way it's kind of documented, because even if I don't get to it today, what I will promise to do for everyone, very quick Loom video answering those questions, and he can email it out to you all. And it's something that I can answer in like 5 to 10 minutes. All right, guys, that QR code is how you can connect with me. If we're not already connected, I think I know most everyone because I've gotten to see all your beautiful faces at the buy-sell meetings that Darren and Sophia put on, or we've known each other over the years. This is the theme for today: visibility over everything. And I mean literally everything, all about visibility. It doesn't matter how good of a year you've been having or how not so great of a year you've been having, or if you've been really feeling behind, or there's someone in your office or that you compete against that has just somehow caught you and you feel like kind of passed you up in terms of productivity and output. If you can control visibility, you're going to get all the shots that you need, I promise you. And keep this quote written down somewhere, because I don't want anyone to lose sight of it, right? We sometimes feel that opportunity is scarce or that it's getting tougher and tougher to come by, but it's basically all going to be directly tied to the amount of visibility you have. So how you want to look at this market, and in terms of either seeing it as there's lots of opportunity out there or there's not, it's all directly tied to visibility. Now, business, we talked about this a little bit, Darren, at Buy Sell a couple weeks ago. And I think, guys, business gets often way too complicated in our minds. And it's probably because we have too much information available to us. There's too many videos, there's too many AI platforms that are trying to present you with a solution to a problem that you don't even have. And then you think, maybe I do have that problem. So you sign up for it. And then we end up getting so overcomplicated and over convoluted with all this information that nothing ends up getting done. Business, at the end of the day, whatever your business is that you're on this call for, is recognizing what you're really good at, what problem in the market exists where you could solve it, and then just connecting those dots. What are you really good at? Where's the problem in the market? And solve it, or connect those dots. That's all business is. It's so simple in theory. It's not easy in execution. It's just simple in theory. And
say that one more time.
Business is recognizing what you're really good at and where the problem in the market is, and just connecting the dots. Or if you want to reverse engineer it, where is a problem in the market? Can I get really good at solving that problem in the market? Because there seems to be a lot of people with this problem, and then connecting. That's all business is at the end of the day. If you think about some of the most successful businesses that are the easiest to understand, they solve a problem. That's what it is. They're not trying to do too much. They're not trying to confuse their audience. They solve a problem. Everyone on here is either in real estate, wealth management, insurance, mortgage. There's an easy problems to basically pinpoint and where they are in the market, and what you have to offer, what you are good at, actually solves it. Is that what you wanted, Darren? Was that
yes, perfect.
Okay. So remember that, guys. Don't overcomplicate things. Now, the old world, or the ways of doing business, and I want to say this old meaning like maybe prior to 20 years ago, right? In the last 20 years, it's really, really changed. But it was just basically your skill set or what you were good at would generate you referrals because of word of mouth. Word of mouth marketing's been around since as long as anything. And that would ultimately lead to your growth in business. Now, what's happening is you've got a skill set. And if you can make that skill set very visible, if you can amplify it through whatever that channel is, think about it when billboards were, think about when TV advertisements were big. If you raise the visibility, that would then create the trust, which would then result in the referrals and then the growth in your business. So visibility, which is a theme I'm going to keep bringing up here and keep kind of saying here like a broken record, but I'm trying to basically help everyone conceptualize this. That's the key ingredient to everything. Now, we talk about content, and that's what I said I was going to spend, time, and that's my reference point here, is doing social media content. The reason why content is so important and why it helps land with the marketplace is because of these 3 pillars, right? Content shows your competence. If you can talk about the things that you're solving, the wins that you're getting for your clients, the tough situations in the marketplace that you're able to navigate through, you will show competence. So if your content or whatever it is that you're using, if you don't want to use content, it needs to show competence. Okay. Then what it'll also do is build that familiarity and trust, because people go with who they know, not necessarily who's the best. And when I mean known, meaning like who's most visible to them. This is why people will lose a deal. You might be really, really good at what you do, 20, 30 years under your belts of this business, whatever that business is, and someone who's been in for a fraction as long as you have, nowhere near the level of skill you have, will land the deal or land the clients or win the business. And sometimes all it just comes down to is more familiarity. They were just more visible, right? But with that familiarity, you can establish a lot of trust, and that ultimately is what's going to keep everybody top of mind. If you are visible, you stay in more people's brains, you occupy more brain cells, you own more mental real estate, and that'll give you as many at-bats as you can handle, which will lead to as much business or plenty of business for you. Now, we touched on this.
Hey, real quick, Arjun, I want to throw something out there because I've seen this. Point blank, a realtor that I know in this Marin market who's only been in the business maybe 3 years, 4 years, all his business, he doesn't actually, he brings the business in, he gets leads, and he hands them off to realtors because he doesn't want to do that part of it. But he gets all his leads from social media because he goes to open houses, he'll do videos and stuff, and he's just promoting himself online. People reach out to this realtor, and then he'll get them in, signed up or whatever, but he'll pass it off to someone else to close the deal, to do the showings and all that kind of stuff, because he doesn't want to do all that. Case in point right there.
That's exactly it. not seeing it in real time. And I'm sure there's this person you're talking about is probably known by other people on this call. So what Darren said is quite relatable there, but that's really, I mean, he summarized it perfectly, and that's how effective this can be. Now, there's a 4x4 content system that what I want to share with people. We touched on this a little bit, and I want to help everyone kind of recapture a little bit of the exercise we did. The 4x4 content system is basically figuring out 4 content pillars. Now, these are basically the voices or the mouthpieces that you use to speak about your business or what you do, or the problems that you solve, or the parts of the market that you help serve. 4 content pillars. Let me see if I can just jump to this slide. Okay, for real estate advisors, these are just examples. They could be ones you want to take, and if you want to use these, please take them. If we were I remember at the meeting, Darren, a lot of people kind of gave us some of theirs, which were great. And I think it inspired some other people to think a little bit differently. But for a real estate advisor, to me, if I had to give them, if somebody came to me and like, can you just help me come up with 4 content pillars? I would give them this: market updates, buying or selling advice. I left off sellers because sometimes you want to give good selling advice, or you want to give good buying advice, or maybe both. Local community insights, which is so huge, like being the digital mirror of where it is that you live. And then client success stories. These sell so well. They do so well because it's real. It's a tangible win that you can actually speak to. That was one of yours. What other ones, if you guys just want to throw in the chat and then Darren can read them, are some pillars, especially those of you that were at the meeting, because I'm sure you put some more thought into it. What are some of the pillars that you use that might be different from these? Maybe they're the same. I don't know, but just throw them in the chat, guys. And then Darren, as they're coming in, just kind of read them out. Maybe it'll help someone who's feeling stuck with this.
Testimonials.
Yeah, that falls right under client success stories. But yeah, sometimes you could make that just an actual pillar itself, just pure testimonials, right? Because that's coming directly from the client, whereas the client success story is you talking about it. But it could be either or both, which is great. What else?
Keep them coming, guys.
Okay, while those are coming in, guys, or as you're thinking of them, so the 4x4 content system, if you got these 4 pillars, you need to be posting or sharing or emailing or displaying or running an advertisement. Again, I told you it could be whatever you want, but I'll say post because I'm speaking from a place of, or a stance of social media. 4 times a week is what you need to be doing. Okay. Like that's to really build some consistency. Some people might say that's a lot. It's not really. I promise you it's not. It could be something that you write. It could be a photo that you took and then you typed some text over it. It could be something that you wrote as a little bit of a blog or a quick paragraph for some thought-provoking responses that you're hoping to get or engagement, and you put it on LinkedIn. Okay. It could be anywhere, but it's got to be 4 times a week. And ideally, if you've got 4 pillars, you should just kind of do one of each every week. One client success story, one market update, one something to do with, a buyer or seller bit of advice, something on the market itself or the community itself. That's what you want to be doing. And if you're doing that for 4 weeks, that's 16 pieces of content. Now, I could honestly look at some people here because I follow a lot of you. If you did that and committed to it, that 16 pieces of content might be 16 more than you did all last year. So this is something you can absolutely do. It's very, very achievable. And what I want you to do is, if you just have a piece of paper, make 4, draw, that would be 1, 2, 3 lines. That'll give you 4 columns, I think, if I'm thinking about it right. Draw those out and then just draw each, or write in what each one of those content pillars would be at the top. And then start to think as you're getting ideas right now, because they'll come to you as we're on this Zoom. I don't want you to wait. Just jot those down of concepts or ideas of things that you would want to talk about underneath each of those pillars. But again,
Arjun, another one that came up was personal anecdotes, real life experience, success stories, that kind of thing.
Yeah, just your take, like your personal feeling on stuff. Like that is great too. Your personality needs to kind of come out in this stuff. So your take on stuff, rather than just regurgitating a headline, but actually saying whether you agree with it or not, or if you think it's bullshit, or you think it's helpful, or you have a different angle. Like make it personal, stand for something, right? Because then it's uniquely yours as a bit of content. Any questions on this, guys, in terms of 4 pillars?
Can I also add in there that, and I know that because I try to do videos as much as possible. You try to make it as professional and looks great and all that kind of stuff. But I will tell you, I did one just as a story. I did one, it's about a year ago. I didn't script it out. I sat in my truck with a lot of and, stuttering, whatever, kind of like I'm doing now. The topic was about, buying, using your HELOC to buy another house, something like this. And to this day, I spent one take, took maybe 2 minutes. I've gotten almost 22,000 views on it. I've gotten 2 leads from it. They still come in like comments a year later. I guess my point there is like, don't worry about making it look great. Don't worry about skipping words and just stuttering or whatever. It doesn't matter, because those are the ones ones that I think get better hits.
100%. Nothing needs to be highly produced or finished, guys. The cameras on your phone are more than these are some of the best cameras in the world. These devices, just like Darren said, if you just take the phone out, like when you have a thought or something comes to mind, just take your phone out and like it's breaking news. We are live in 3, 2, 1, and go. Just like literally, don't even give yourself a chance to think. Just talk, because everyone here is capable of it. We just overthink it sometimes. Because if I handed you a hot lead right now of someone that wants to buy, or I told Jason, hey Jason, you know what? This guy wants to. He's sick and tired of his wealth manager at this place. He literally said he's not going to go another day dealing with this guy, and he's going to transfer everything over to Jason. He wants to right now, or he'll take my recommendation. I said, Jason Carlin is your guy. Jason's not going to overthink that. He'll be able to talk, right? Because he knows what to do, because he does this for a living. All of us do this for a living, which means what you do for a living is your content. Those ideas you have when you're in the car, when you leave the open house, or you leave the sales meeting, or you leave a Zoom like this, and an idea pops in your head, it's worthy of sharing. The most important thing that will come from all that, guys, and what Darren did, is you start to build a muscle that is getting you into just being a constant marketer, which is what everyone needs to do. People think that you have to take time out to market, or you have to take time out to do this stuff. It's actually part of your day. All you do is just take your phone out and talk. That's it. And as he said, you could have an and ah, you could look off. It doesn't matter, because you might have that on a phone call or in a live conversation like this anyways. Just be yourself and talk. But if the truth about all this, right, when it comes to visibility, like build it and they will come was the old myth. But if you build it, tell the entire world about it, then they'll all come. And in fact, not all of them will, like more than all of them will show up. Now, I want to talk about this because I want to get some engagement back from you guys. There is so much going on right now in the media about the markets, about what's going to potentially affect housing, what's affecting the stock market, what's affecting people's portfolios, what's going on with gas prices and affecting everyday expenses. It's all bad news in terms of how it's being perceived by most consumers, but that is good news in terms of, I don't mean that it's good news as in like anyone is celebrating someone's misery or hardship. I mean, it's good news because all of this news presents opportunities. So what I want everyone to do is just throw in the chat, whoever wants to, anything that comes to mind. Give me some negative headlines or excuses or just anything that's maybe not so positive that people have been telling you as a reason why they don't want to transact or why they don't want to move forward or what they're most afraid of. Basically something that's considered to be bad news. Just throw it in the chat now and Darren can read them out, and I'll tell you how we're going to basically not spin this or manipulate it, because that sounds like we're doing something deceitful or we're trying to mislead people. I'm going to talk about how all of these things are opportunities, and this will give you loads of ideas, guys, in terms of what to talk about. Because anytime
the war, uncertainty, and then I got to go back on some others. Interest rates are too high. It's just not the right time. Uncertainty. Left message waiting for the foreclosures to come back. Oh, I'm waiting for the foreclosures to come back. That's funny. Interest rates are spiking because of the war. So there you go.
Okay. So all these things that we're hearing here, right? Every single one of these things, everything you hear is actually an opportunity if it was just taken and reframed or repositioned. Yes, the war is going on. Wars start and wars end. Okay, this too will have a conclusion date on it. But right now, while it's happening, a lot of other buyers like yourself, Mr. So-and-so, are using this as a reason to maybe sit this out and wait. For you, that's a massive opportunity because it means decreased competition. Interest rates are a little bit elevated. Yeah, interest rates took a little bit of a jump as a result of oil prices spiking, and every geopolitical conflict like this, historically, it's followed the same pattern. There's been a spike in oil prices. It might have stayed there for a little bit. There might have been some short duration. Sometimes it was not even short. It was almost like an immediate corner. And as they cooled off, which they inevitably will, mortgage rates too will cool off. But when they cool off, we're going to have a lot more buyers back in the space. And that's going to increase competition. So these elevated rates are actually some of the best things going for you if you are a serious buyer. Like nothing of what I'm saying is manipulation, guys. I'm just literally presenting the opportunity because there's nothing that's going to cause, barring a black swan event, any sort of an inversion to the housing market, particularly in Marin. There's just way too much demand. There's way too little supply, and there's just too much actual activity happening. There's too much liquidity out there. There's too much cash on the sidelines. And as Jason pointed out in the last buy sell meeting, which I talk about as well all the time, if you aren't paying attention to these IPOs, one of which will be the largest in the history, it's going to have a massive ripple effect, not just through the Bay Area, but into all the other adjacent markets as well, because it'll feed into other industries, serve other companies. It's going to impact other people's portfolios. So there's massive opportunity on the horizon, and it's happening right now. But all of this negativity, all this bad news can be actually reframed. You just have to think of the reframes, number one. And number two, you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, don't say it. Okay. I don't want you to do something just because we talked about it on this webinar, that this is an opportunity when you don't actually believe it's an opportunity, because our market needs people with certainty because our consumers, our clients, the market itself deserves that. It deserves certainty to the best of our ability. So if you're shaky on it or you don't believe it, please don't say anything at all. I don't want anyone doing our market a disservice. You have to believe. And if you're one of those people that might believe the housing market might crash or invert, just don't talk for a while. Sit this out for the next few months, please. But if you don't believe any of that stuff and you're seeing it the other way, then everything that's out there in terms of a headline can be reframed. I'll pause there, Darren. Are there any others that came through?
Yeah, so let's see here. I'm going to just go through a couple of these. So Jason, narrative is how the brain resolves ambiguity fast. Narrative is dangerous. Advisors are the cure to narrative. There was something brought up earlier. Thoughts on content that gets views versus content that is more on target for buyers / sellers. Skits seem to mostly get engagement from other realtors, etc.
Save that question, Darren. We'll come right back to it. Yep.
Okay. And then one more real quick regarding captions and subtitles on the videos. These are good. These are
Save that one as well. Yeah, these are both tactical and like structural things. So we can get to those at kind of towards the end, which will be good.
Okay.
But again, guys, if we take the headlines and people want to wait things out, the uncertainty is causing me to wait. You just remind them that waiting for that hunky-dory type of climate or pasture means this. So it's fine if you want to wait. And we want to level with people. We don't ever want to make anyone feel bad for the insecurity they ever have about the market or the thing that's giving them pause or making them nervous or anxious. Meet them there. Tell them, I see what you're saying. And reading those headlines, I would actually, I can understand exactly why you feel that way. But here's the other side of the coin. Here's the opportunity, right? And if we wait and we sit this out, it's going to result in this. If you decide to rent for a year and sign that lease, there's nothing wrong with it. I just want you to know we will likely be dealing with higher prices at this time next year. So yes, rates might be a little bit lower, but you'll be probably dealing with a higher sales price, which is probably going to be a wash. So it's entirely up to you. But this is how I want everyone thinking about things, is the constant reframe. Now, if you take one idea you have, and this is something I do and it really helps me out, you can squeeze it into so many pieces. I want to give you guys an example, the K-shaped economy. I put out a piece of content on this maybe a few weeks ago. I did a totally different angle with it. I think I did it on against the brick wall. We used it.
It was great.
We found this gigantic brick wall in the alley, and Hashim and I were both staring at it and trying to think, do I climb this thing? Do I do something crazy on it? And then I thought better of that because I don't move as well as I used to. So that wouldn't have been a good idea. But then we thought this could actually turn into a big board and we could illustrate on it. So I talked about the K-shaped economy. Now, for those that don't know this, there's some economists, some journalists that are referring to it. The K-shaped economy, literally shaped like a K, represents the economy splitting in two different directions. On the top ring of the K are those that feel that this economy is doing well. They're seeing their wages and their wealth continue to expand. They're spending money with lots of confidence. They feel very optimistic about things. Their job security is pretty firm. And then on the bottom ring are those that are feeling really squeezed by this economy. Affordability continues to remain an issue. Prices that change daily or weekly have an immediate impact on them. The difference between the top ring and the bottom ring, real simple. It's a common denominator. People that are on the top ring of the K own assets. That's it. That's literally the difference. If you own assets, you can make sure you stay on this. So I talked about this because I want to keep this simple so that people understand that yes, there's a tale of two different economies out there, right? Depending on where you live, it might be one or the other, but it's important for us as service providers to recognize that people fall into one of these two and we need to be sensitive to the opposite one. So if you take this one concept, which is what I did. We recorded a YouTube video about it, explaining it. That was one long form bit. The concept itself was also turned into 4 to 6 different Instagram reels and or TikToks. I also did a LinkedIn post about it and I did a tweet thread on it. And then it also was going to go into my newsletter. Sorry, I jumped ahead. So you see how one idea can be squeezed into so many different things. I didn't need 6 different ideas here to make this. And I want to give you guys this. This is a simple framework and you can come up with your own. I just want to give you some inspiration or an idea here that you could kind of sit and ponder as to how your idea could be turned into more. Let me pause there for a second. Darren, anything coming through?
We're good right now. We're caught up.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to add on this?
No, I have a couple questions for you at the end, but I want to make sure we get through this.
Okay. All right. And you just tell me when we kind of want to be to the end because this deck could go for hours. I want to just get through some of the more important stuff. Is this helpful, guys? By the way, just drop in the chat, please, if it's helpful, saying yes or no, Arjun, you lost me at the first slide.
You had me at hello.
Yeah. Well, that's what I hope you'd say. But yeah. So just let me know in there, guys. Okay. Here's my playbook. I remember the very first place I shared this playbook was at Sophia's meeting at the Aqua Hotel like 3 years ago. It was 2024. And I remember standing up there sharing it because I literally created the slide minutes before getting there. And I said, I want to just share my playbook because I'm always an open book with stuff. But I'll be honest with you guys, the reason why I'm sharing the same slide It's because I haven't changed anything. It's been working. So I'm not going to deviate from something that's working. And therefore, since I'm an open book, I want you guys to do the same. I want to just share with you. But my playbook has always kind of come down to these three key areas in terms of what I talk about. Okay. I talk to you about the pillars, which everyone needs to develop on their own. But in terms of what you specifically talk about from each of those pillars, or one of them, or all of them, or some type of a combination, is community marketing, storytelling, and news hacking. Community marketing is kind of like what we talked about earlier. It's just being the digital mayor. You be the best ambassador of where it is you live. If you live in Tiburon and that's where you really serve, it's not to say that you don't serve other markets, but you had better be the single greatest cheerleader of Tiburon with everything. The bakeries, the delis, the walking trails, the lifestyle there, the new neighborhoods that are being developed maybe, or if there's some new development going, like you be talking about all of it. Because why else should somebody buy from you then otherwise? If you yourself, don't be the Mercedes driver that works at BMW is what I'm trying to say. You guys have all dealt with that, right? Like you work at BMW, but what did you drive here? You're telling me this car, so why are you still driving a Bang if this car is so great? So be the champion for the markets that you represent.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's a great one. Yeah.
Storytelling, obviously, guys, we've talked about this a lot at past meetings, and I think everyone on here, I don't need to go into it too much in depth, but people love stories because they identify with them. They identify with the characters and something real. Now, all of us here have stories because everyone on here has had a career for a number of years, which means you can go back to some of the first clients you served. Just because it's not as recent doesn't mean it's an unworthy story. So dig into some of the stories of the people you helped where you did something, or because of your skill set, or because of your connections, or because of something you did, you made something possible. And that's storytelling. Okay. But it's really powerful, and it's something everybody should really, really continue to double down on. And then news hacking. We talked about the headlines already. Where were we? We were here. The bad news, right? The news is everywhere, and it is just endless. There's constantly things that you could talk about where you could hack the news, and just make sure that it answers these questions every time you present it. Because if you say, well, what am I going to do with that headline? Just remind yourself, whatever I say needs to answer the question of here's why you should care. Here's what this means for you. Here's why this is bullshit. Here's why this is an opportunity. It needs to answer the question some way along those lines. Does that make sense, guys?
One more time on that, because that was huge. That's good for notes there.
Here's why you should care. Here's what the opportunity is with this. Here's why this is bullshit. Here's why I agree with this. Here's what this means for you. It needs to answer those questions. What I'm doing there, guys, is what's called a tie down. You're basically tying the concept or whatever it is you've framed or discussed, and you're tying it down. When it's tied down, then it means something to someone. So you want to have a tie down, and that's just answer that question every time. And this can be helpful to you just in email. If you're writing out an email to a client, or you're writing out a mass email that's going to go out at a huge distribution, or as part of your newsletter, in this language somewhere, I need to know why I should care. I need to understand what this is for, or where the opportunity is. Tie it down. Does that make sense, guys?
So how about with this, because it's so easy right now, you could put those 4 topics, those 4 reasons in that, what you want to talk about, throw it into AI, say, I want to create a script with, make sure I answers this on this newsletter. I mean, it'll shoot out what you should script in seconds. Yeah,
it should. Yeah. And then take it, guys, and go back through it and just make sure it still continues to sound like you. The danger in AI, right? And it's very helpful, and it's moving so freaking fast. My mind was blown just yesterday, or 2 days ago. Actually, it was yesterday, sitting through a session with Chris Winfeld, who's Jen Gottlieb's husband. He's kind of the AI guy. And I told him I'd love to have him do a webinar for all of us here on the West Coast on how real estate professionals can use it. But he basically was just saying, like, everything from last month is already obsolete in terms of what was used for this and that. And it just keeps changing. It's moving so freaking fast. But the danger in all of it is that it's going to start to dumb us down a little bit unless we continue to let our minds participate in the process. Don't outsource every single thing to AI. If it gives you back a framework, go back through it yourself and say, would I actually say this? Or how could I say it differently? Or how could I make it more me? Okay, because we've all read the email that clearly came from an AI copy and paste, right? And nothing feels worse than that. Or you see a LinkedIn post. There's nothing wrong with using AI, but make sure that your personality, your expression, your intelligence, your frames of reference still come out in that. Is that on point, guys? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, then you just won't be seen as authentic. And we have an authenticity gap for sure going on right now. And AI is going to kind of widen that gap. But those that can use AI while still remaining authentic are going to be the winners, because AI can help you scale your time, and it can do these things so much faster, which is why we use it. But don't use it for every single thing, or take your eyes off the ball there and throw something up that clearly isn't your voice. Let me continue.
Hey, one more here, Arjun.
Yeah.
going back to, it says, this Tyler said, isn't it different why for each client? Isn't the why different for each client? So hard to use socials for that. Isn't it
The
a
why,
different
meaning like
why
why
for each
somebody should
client?
care? You mean, Tyler, are you talking about like why somebody should care? Like when we answer that question?
Yeah, you were just saying that there's a different, why there's a different way to spin, not use the word spin, but for each different client compared to their situation. So I sometimes find it hard to send out socials that, are kind of talking about one specific side when everybody's coming from different angles, different, price points, different neighborhoods, different, sellers or buyers. So I guess you can just frame it as, for buyers, this is the situation that where you can take
you gotta be
advantage of.
specific. Yeah, you bring up a good point, and you need to, the answer was there was you just have to be specific, right? If you are talking about why a buyer or a seller should care, that could be a pretty tough message because there's going to be it's almost two different answers, or they could be really conflicting with one another. So you need to be specific.
And even buyers. I mean, Northern Marin and Southern Marin are different, markets right now, and so I guess the point is you throw out generics and then you invite them back to have the conversation with you to get specific about their particular situation.
Totally. I mean, when I'm talking about what's going on in the world, right, how the war is actually an opportunity for you, right? While everyone is obsessed and doom scrolling and going, down these rabbit holes, many of those buyers are now checked out. When I say that, that applies to every market, maybe to a different percentage in Tiburon versus Sausalito versus San Francisco versus Santa Clara, of course, if we're going to get that specific. But what I'm saying there applies to all markets. So think about things generally in terms of how it's going to apply in broad context, and then you can get a little bit more specific when people engage or connect with you, because that's where your expertise comes in. But you need to be a little bit of a market leader or being able to discuss those things in general so that you can draw people in. Now, the bonus kind of bucket, and this was something that I added maybe a year ago. It might have been a little over a year ago. I had posted a piece of content to teach people how to do what I do without needing me. Literally showing them how to get a mortgage without needing me. And it ended up being one of my best pieces of performing content. And some of you might think, well, I don't want to teach someone how to need me or not need me and go through the whole transaction. I promise you, if you share that with them, they're going to remember you, and it ends up making them want to work with you even more. This is why playing hard to get works. Many of you are familiar with this because you did it during your single day, or you were me and you were chasing the one your entire life that was playing hard to get. So you understand what it was like being on the opposite side of that equation. But that's effectively what it is. Teach them, play hard to get, teach them how to do everything that you do without even needing you. And you actually come off as even more authentic, less salesy, more helpful. And ultimately, they're going to want to work with you even more. Teach people about how to interpret an appraisal report without you having to talk to them about it, or an inspection report. How to go through the beginning parts of a real estate transaction without an agent. Here's how you can go out and try and buy this house potentially without even using me. It's controversial. It's thought-provoking. It's different, and it's going to get you some. And somebody asked the question, how do I gain a little bit more attention? Do something unconventional. You need to throw a little bit of a curveball to the marketplace, because in a sea of everyone looking the exact same, guys, you want to make sure that you stand out. If everyone's wearing white shirts, throw on something different, right? Don't say the same thing as everybody else. Come out with something different. Darren, what were some of those other questions? Because I want to answer them here, and then I'll get into these tactics.
Jesus put something in here. This is how to clean up your own credit and boost your scores. Okay, that's a good one. Good topic. Let me scroll back up here. Talked about subtitles, if you want to use subtitles on the videos, but I don't know if you want to touch on that, or
it's helpful to always have subtitles or captions, guys, because some people are just readers, and it trips up the mind a little bit. If they're listening and reading, you're likely to gain someone who's going to watch or stay connected to the piece a little bit longer. Sometimes people are in places where they can't hear, so they'd rather read it. And if they read it, they may actually go back and want to watch it this next time with sound. So therefore, you just got 2 views, maybe even more.
Let's see. We had a question on here about skits. Doing skits seemed to get more engagement from other realtors. Thoughts on content that gets views versus content that is more on target for buyers and sellers?
Be different, be authentic, but be in value at the end of the day. If you're doing the stuff that's the same as everyone else, it may not get much views. It may not even get much reach, because the algorithms are so well defined now and constantly getting fine-tuned that they recognize that this is kind of the same as 5 million other people that have just posted a very similar piece of content. And therefore, it's going to kind of drown out. It's going to be another one of those white t-shirts in that opening slide I showed you. So it just blends in. But if you do something a little bit different, you take a contrarian view, you open with something that's going to be a little bit more thought-provoking, right? Like just doing something different to capture people's attention. And the thing I'll just tell you guys is just get creative. There's no right or wrong way to do any of it. So somebody said skits. Sure. Do them. Somebody said and you can just try a lot of things, because a lot of this is trial and error. I'm constantly testing new things in new ways. Sometimes they work, sometimes they bomb. And more often than not, guys, I'll be honest with you, they bomb. But it's all right. I just try it and then we just pivot, redo it a different way. And so everyone here as a marketer needs to do the same thing. There's no tried and true formulas. This is a new space, which again makes it very, very exciting. And it's where the opportunity lies. You want to just have creative kind of flexibility and freedom to try different things and see what works. And then eventually you'll find your cadence. So maybe it's doing skits. Maybe it's being more fun. Maybe you have a certain way that you always do your market updates. They're while you're on a walk outside, or you want to try something different. Like put the toilet seat down and sit on the toilet and just talk. And people are like, what is Darren doing in there? And I'm going to watch for 10 to 15 seconds before I figured out that you just decided to do this, which means now your piece of content got a higher engagement score because I watched for longer rather than scroll right past it, right? Like you'll know, did you guys notice I went through a bit of a thing that, speaking of unhealthy habits, I'm going to get shit here from Jason probably on it, but everyone knows I have a slight addiction, a soft addiction to Diet Coke. But I was opening all my videos with the Diet Coke just sitting in the frame. And sometimes I would open it. You would just hear that crisp crack of the can opening. That would be the first 2 seconds. I would like struggle with it and then open it. And you're wondering like, what is he going to do? And then I'll take a big sip from it. I'll say, that's amazing. And then I'll get into something that is amazing in terms of some news or something. So just try new things, guys. Get creative with it. Have fun with it. But this side of your brain, I was telling you, the muscle that gets kind of flexed and developed, like we were talking about with Darren being out in the truck and just getting in the habit of doing it. You'll start to flex this creative side of your brain, which is needed now more than ever, right? We all have to get creative. We all have to start thinking ahead, trying new things, going into areas that are maybe a little bit uncomfortable. And if you do that, you're going to get better at business overall. It's going to help you in every other aspect of your business. Now, in terms of metrics, guys, 4 to 6 stories a day are what's needed on any platform that has stories. You need to be doing it. I talk about Instagram the most because that's my platform of choice. That's where I spend most of my time. So I'm referencing that, but you could apply this to whatever. It could be Facebook, which is effectively the same thing. It could be TikTok, whatever, but 4 to 6 stories a day. That might seem like a lot. I promise you, it's really nothing. You literally take your phone out, you might talk, you might take a photo of this Zoom that we're on, and you want to share it to your story saying, I'm learning to be a little bit more active and you're going to be hearing a lot more from me on social. There's your story. There's one. You can do another 3 or 4 throughout the day. This is where you can let people in on your personal life when you're out with your kids, when you're picking them up. I mean, so I'll use Sophia as an example. Sophia is obviously a very, very proud mom. She dotes over her children a lot and all their accomplishments, the schools they're getting into, their athletic accomplishments. If you follow her, you're tuning in on the weekends, it is all about her kids and how happy she is for them, the roads that she's on traveling to watch their tournaments, their competitions. This is how I get to know her. How easy is it, Sophia, when you're out on a weekend to be putting up double-digit stories because you're just loving on your kids, right? And you're letting us in, and no share is oversharing or too much. Like, do what you want, guys. Like, I'm not saying take the camera into the shower with you. I mean, if you want to do that, it'll probably help with engagement. If it's me, it'll hurt engagement. Like, it's entirely up to you, but just let people into your life and don't worry so much about what other people are necessarily thinking or whatever. Like, this is how they're going to get to know you. And if they don't like you, F them. Who cares? This is your life, right? And it's not an audition.
And I think be you. I mean, I think you're so good at that, Arjun. Just be you. And I think that's why people want to work with you, is because you're you.
Yeah, you have to be, right? Just be yourself, guys, and your tribe will find you and your tribe will stick to you. You'll create some raving fans. And we all know we're not for everyone, because when you try and connect with everyone, you work with no one. When you try and market to everyone, you reach no one, right? You got to be specific. You got to find your tribe. You got to stand for something. You got to be you unapologetically, and your people will find you. So 4 to 6 stories a day, engage with 20 posts. This is really important, that you be a participant on whatever platform it is. LinkedIn is one of the greatest opportunities out there for anyone in social right now. If you are if you are a person who's behind the desk a lot, you should be blocking up 15 to 20 minutes to just do nonstop LinkedIn engagement. Set it on a timer and say, I'm just going to scroll LinkedIn, all this thought leadership, the conferences that people seem to be reporting back from, the articles that are being posted about the economy, some stats, data, whatever, just comment, write, engage people. 1, you'll learn. 2, you'll actually get inspiration for ideas for yourself. But 3, you're going to train that platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, or whatever, maybe all of them, that you are a very serious user. And these platforms reward serious users. If you're more serious on them, your content will do better. But if you're someone that just kind of posts and runs, never replies to comments, doesn't communicate with people on there, doesn't engage people, or as I like to say, like, take your jacket off and stay at the cocktail party for a little bit rather than just standing in the corner being arrogant and then leaving saying the party sucked. Don't do that, okay? Because the party didn't suck, you suck. Like, you need to be more active and you need to help out or be an active participant in the process, and then just be consistent, guys. Whatever you're doing, you have to be consistent because these platforms reward it. I'll just wrap you with this. All of us, I've been saying this quote for years, right? You either exert your relevance or you'll get pushed to a place of irrelevance. It matters now more than ever. Everything is crowded, everything is noisy, everything is moving fast. There's so much hyper disruption going on, and And if you don't elbow your way into that room, that noisy digital space, and at least start exerting some kind of relevance, because everyone on here is relevant. Everyone on here matters. You're all important. You're all good at what it is you do. But if you don't exert that, you will get pushed into a corner of irrelevant. And if you feel like you're already kind of getting pushed in that corner, it's not too late. Just elbow your way back into that space and speak up. Be more visible. And that's what I got for you guys.
All right. So a couple things I just want to cover here. Andrew said this. One thing that took my YouTube to over 1 million views was testing content on TikTok and then only taking the winners over to YouTube Shorts. So the YouTube algorithm saw every single video I posted as a winner and would push it into the feed. So that's good.
Amazing. Great strategy. Really great strategy. Using one platform to test and then carrying it over or cross-pollinating it in another platform. Great idea and strategy. That's awesome.
Could I add one little piece of context here?
Go ahead.
I chose TikTok because that was the platform that I didn't have a platform on. And I also felt that my target audience was least likely to be on there, but it was still good algorithm testing. So that's how I chose TikTok. And then the winners were just the highest engagement ones. You know, everyone gets like 200 views or whatever, and then some of them would pop and get a few thousand. Those are the ones I'd pull over.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So 2 more things here, and then we'll wrap up because it's a little bit over 11 here. So Keith did say 4 to 6 per day. 4 posts per week sounds achievable, but 4 to 6 stories a day sounds too much to handle. Taking over your life, too intrusive.
Okay. I will just say this as a rebuttal, not out of any disrespect, but because I want to be helpful to, and I also know anyone can do this. The 4 to 6 stories is actually easier than the 4 posts. The 4 to 6 stories is like you can actually do so casually, you wouldn't even you don't even realize how much easier that is.
You can do a story right now. Just, hey, I'm sitting on this.
How often do you reach for your phone? You reach for your phone probably, I don't know what the stats are on it, but that's probably a good number. We could figure out if somebody wants to chat GPT. How often does the average person reach for the average white collar professional reach for their iPhone in a day? Be specific. I bet you the number is going to be probably over 100. The average person. 4 to 6 of those times that you reached for the phone, if you just took the phone up like this and just say, listen, I just got off this webinar that my good friends, Darren and Sophia, put on, which I love because they create so much value for our real estate community. And they were basically just helping us all level up and be better marketers. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to you and I'm going to be leveling up and you're going to be hearing a lot more from me. So stay tuned. Boom. There's your story right there. I just posted it and shared it. There's 1, maybe 8 seconds, possibly 9. And then if I multiply that, we're talking about a minute a day, guys. And if you're like, he's oversimplifying, it's because I am oversimplifying it because it is actually that simple. So yes, anyone can do it.
So last 2 things here. So Arlen did say if you make anything part of your routine / discipline, then it becomes second nature. Absolutely, totally. 100%.
Arlen's another one. She does this all the time. She's so good. If you follow Arlen, she's constantly just letting you in on her life a little bit, right? And she curates things beautifully because she has a marketing background, so it's a little bit more posh. You could make it look that nice. You could be even more raw. But great point. Thank you, Arlen.
And then Keith, we'll get back to you on this one. It says he's not really clear the difference between post and reels, stories, etc. We'll follow up with that on a Loom.
If you ever feel stuck with just wondering, I'll just answer real fast. What should belong in a story versus what belongs in my feed? Ask yourself, will this be relevant next week? If it's going to have relevance next week, it belongs in your feed. If it's a fleeting moment or just something in the moment that's kind of fun or lighthearted, it belongs in your stories. That's it. That's what I use as a thermometer or a litmus test.
And then Lisa said we pick up our phone 80 to 120 times per day.
I was right. I was close. Yeah. About 100. Guys, that's a lot
last
of time.
One. So Arjun, you were talking about billboards and stuff. So this is my last question. My question for you: if you could put one sentence on a billboard, I get this from Tim Ferriss. He used to do this if you could put one sentence on a billboard out on the middle of the highway that thousands and thousands of people drive by every day and see this billboard, what would it say?
It's time.
Oh, good.
It's time. Because it's time for a lot of things, right? That's open the door. And then we'd have a QR code and then you could ask me, it's time for what? And then,
there you go.
I'll tell you, yeah. It's
that's perfect. Yeah. That's great. Arjun, first of all, thank you so much. One thing, if you guys, so Arjun heads up the LFG Society, and I know there's a lot of people on this call that are part of that, but if you're not a part of the LFG Society, reach out and to Arjun, myself, Sophia, whoever, and get some information on it because it's a great community and it's a great way for you to get out there and just be involved. So check that out. Arjun, thanks, brother.
Anytime, guys. I hope it was helpful, everyone, and got you thinking a little bit differently, but I promise you everyone can do this stuff. Just find your own way. Your way of doing it will be the right way. Just get comfortable with it, but just push yourself and get out there because I'm telling you, the market isn't going to wait for us. It's moving too fast, right? And this is your way to battle back against all of it. Just push yourself a little bit, get outside your comfort zone. That's where the growth happens. And that's where you'll start to break some of these walls down in business and create more opportunity for yourself. And I promise you, you'll look back and say, yeah, because I took the move. I made the move. I did something a little bit bold. No more playing it safe. Everyone in agreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Love it, guys.
Great stuff.
Great stuff.
Hey, you guys, we'll see you. Keep your eyes out for an email. Keep your eyes out ready for an email today about the next buy sell meeting on May 5th. We're going to have some breakfast burritos there in honor of Cinco de Mayo.
You had me at
there you go.
breakfast.
So keep an eye out. Arjun, thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Love you, brother. Love you, Sophia.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Love you, Arjun. Bye, Darren. Love you.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Hey, Darren, can you answer a question?
Yeah, go.
Since you're here, I know you've been responding to some of my posts lately. The last couple of weeks, I've been kind of testing a new direction. Do you think that's effective the way I'm handling it, or
keep going?
You think so? Okay.
It's your lane.
Yeah, it is my lane.
It takes a minute. It takes a minute for it to everyone to you'll find your tribe, right? You'll find your tribe will find that lane. Keep going.
I'm trying to kind of work with the metrics and how long should definitely a learning curve. For sure.
Yeah, no, it is. And it takes a minute. You'll test different posts and different words and verbiage and that kind of thing, but just keep doing it because you'll find your people.
Yeah. And I think
and that's all you need is to find your people in that, and it'll take off.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your feedback,
Yeah, no, those are good. I love them. Keep them going.
Hey, Darren.
What's up, buddy?
Hi, my name is Gaspar. It's super nice to meet you. I don't remember seeing you before. I've been in the business for 4 years, but I want to get more involved in these kind of videos.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Cool.
With Holmes Burrell.
We did a video recently.
Holmes Burrell. Good dudes.
I think that I was wondering about this topic that you guys spoke, that I was doubting about posting, because I've been posting for a few months and it hasn't worked yet, but I'm getting better at it. So
it will.
Yeah.
It will. It'll click. You just got to keep going. And you'll, again, the same thing. Find your lane. They use a word they use out there is your avatar, like who you want to focus on, who you are. Like, for example, like with mine, a lot of mine, I try to focus because I'm a veteran. So I try to talk about veteran stuff, VA stuff. Another thing that, we really don't need to get into too much, but I've been sober for like 15 years. I talk about that, just stuff that
same here.
People relate to.
Years.
Oh, right on, man. See, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, good.
So that's perfect. So it's things like that you'll get your people for sure.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to more meetings like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the last meeting, I missed it. I forgot about it when I realized it was too late, but I wanted to join you that was last week, right?
Yeah, we had our Southern Marin one. Yeah, I think it was last week.
I wanted to be there, but I just forgot about it.
Well, you could come we have one in the North Bay too. We have one on the 5th at Marin Country Club.
I already signed up for it, so.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking
Well, I'll see you there for sure. Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.